was the reason for going into stand-up?
It's a craft I've been fascinated with since I was 17 years old. I was in college at the time, Tampines Junior College.
TP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tampines boy. And I remember watching Russell Peters for the first time. This was the first time ever comedians and censors met in a meeting room. They sent their most senior censor, Mr. Tan.
Oh boy.
And it comes out, he's like,
Yeah, hello, hi, you're the comedian, right? Yeah, we saw all your video on the YouTube. Haha, very funny, all of you, very good, yeah. But today we are here to talk to you about the thing that you can and cannot, more importantly, cannot say on the live TV show later, okay?
First thing we step in, it's like, hey, Mr. Tan, can we say on TV or not, huh?
Is out, huh?
Comedian, of course is out, ma. Cannot be in, must be out, right? Huh? Cannot be inside, outside.
I remember this.
Yeah, sorry, that joke cannot, huh?
And we were doing very well for about 15 minutes of the show until one comedian goes on live free-to-air TV in Singapore and says, you know, my girlfriend has been giving me so much lately. And he realized what he said with his mic still on. He looks at me and says, I just said on TV.
Comedy Central Stand-Up A.
Yeah. Oh boy. The good old days of live TV in Singapore, huh?
But it's true, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I'm speaking from the stuff that came out from you on that show, right? The word shit, yeah?
Yep.
I think it's kind of liberal now, don't you think?
I think things have changed, man, Chris, in all frankness. Wow. We could go in the deep recesses of discussing comedy with the censors. I think there was a phase in time where we were winning some battles as creatives. But I think so much has changed that it's weird. There are some things that were okay 5-7 years ago that have suddenly not become okay now.
Okay.
And the opposite also stands true. Like back in the day, they were like, "Oh man, this won't fly, Rishi." But now they're like, "Oh, okay, we get it." That's cool.
So don't you think that this unpredictability, can I call it that, is a little off for a lot of entertainers?
It is extremely. It's wow. People ask me what stand-up comedy is like, and I don't think this is just true for Singapore, right? We always think that Singapore, everything is so what's the word? Kosher, sanitized.
Yeah.
People don't know how to. But if you do American TV, we go to Australia, we go to more mature scenes. The comics have their same or similar battles, where there is a different spectrum on what you can say and do and perform in a live comedy club versus what you can do on
televised network. Yeah. It's strange because I've noticed this because I love Brit comedy, man. And Graham Norton is amazing.
Oh yeah.
8 out of 10 cats. Jimmy Carr, right? Mickey Flanagan.
All right, yeah.
I tell you, these guys. And when you watch British live TV and you watch chat shows, right?
Yep.
Jonathan Ross, Graham Norton, for example. And the Americans who are guests on the show get kind of culture shocked.
Like, how can they be so open about certain things? I feel you, man, Chris.
Yeah, I love that,
Well, yes, and it's so cultural. I'll tell you something about the British acts. So sometimes, as open and as accepting they are of certain genre of comedy, like sex or vulgarity or pushing the limits on dark humor.
Yeah.
There are certain topics that are still very touchy for a British audience. For example, race.
Okay.
Like, when you come to Singapore and we openly still talk about race as a part of comedy because, it's just the fabric of who we are.
Okay.
But when you go to the UK and as a minority, for example, you're talking about race-related issues, they're like, oh, you should not. I don't think you can. No, we will not go there. We will not partake in this.
Yeah, but if you look at on a scale of 1 to 10, right? I would think maybe 7 or 8, it's fine with them to just push the ante a little bit. But in this country, what do you think?
I think it's all about medium, man. Like I said, I've been lucky, I guess, to be able to do those gigs with, 10 people at midnight in a dingy basement comedy club versus 25,000 people at the parade, the float, and everything in between.
Yeah.
And I'll say that if you come to a live comedy club in Singapore, there's almost no topic that's off limits, man. I've rarely seen, I mean, if, again, provided you can make it funny, lah. It's not like you can go out there and suddenly just roaring your way through and ask for CPF. No, we don't do that. Can I just make it clear that the comedians in Singapore are not out for some kind of political revolution? No, it's just entertainment, good, clean, well, not necessarily clean, but good fun.
Yeah.
You know?
So you can't just roaring your way, huh?
No, I mean, that's not what that's about, right? And I genuinely think sometimes the censors are afraid of that. They're afraid that, hey, you know what? You know, why are you mentioning these political figures in your script? Because, well, I mean, I don't know if the audience that's watching the show know this, but for every live performance that comedians or any kind of performers do in Singapore for theaters,
right,
you need to apply for an arts entertainment license.
What?
Yeah. So that requires some kind of scripting. You got to put in an application about 2 months in advance.
Oh, man.
Yeah, which makes it very challenging for comedians because a lot of our work is meant to talk about the current issues.
Yeah.
Like if something happens in the news today, like say, I read this morning that MBS is going to have Tower 4.
The fourth tower, yeah.
Because they're competing with Changi Airport, right? That's the race.
just for you to know, Changi's on Terminal 5 now.
5 now, yeah. So MBS, you got to catch up, all right? I don't know when T5 or T5 is going to come up, but hey, you got to do that soon.
Well, that's a good one. Speaking of good ones,
yes.
How do you come up with content? You know, one thing I got to say, man, Rishi. Hey, everybody. I didn't do a proper introduction. My guest in the studio for the I Love My Job series. I love my job, and I'm pretty sure this man loves his, is Rishi Budhrani.
What's going on, everyone? Thanks for having me.
And this man has got accolade after accolade, man. I mean, talk about Wikipedia running out of pages. Jeez. Oh, man.
It's nice to have a Wikipedia page, man. That's when like people started taking me seriously.
What do you mean?
They're like, oh my God, man. Yeah, you're a funny guy, this, and then suddenly my team reveals that we've got a Wikipedia page up and they're like, wow, Rishi, hey man, I saw you got a Wikipedia page. Congratulations, bro. I'm like, I've been doing this 10 years, guys. Like, what?
But I got to tell you, man, I mean, your team definitely did a great job, that's for sure. But I can say this. Judging by the stuff I've read on your wiki, it's wicked simply because I can sense blood, toil, sweat, and tears, man. The amount of work you put in over this short span of time, 10 years is not a long time.
Yeah, man, blood, sweat, tears. I mean, some laughter also. I mean, let's not forget. It's a big part of this job. I mean, let's not ignore that.
Yeah, sure.
Well, to be fair, I've been in show business a little longer than I've been in stand-up. Stand-up came a little later for me, in all frankness. Okay. I actually, believe it or not, I started my show business career dancing in a Bollywood dance troupe in Singapore for extra cash in university and the army. Yeah. I paid my way through some courses and classes doing like dancing at weddings. There was a bunch of us that were really keen to make a career in Bollywood at the time. Right. It was just, like 17, 18-year-old boys and girls who kind of found each other. Right. And I ended up marrying one of them. My wife. Yeah, I met my wife in that troupe. Okay. One of my closest friends in showbiz, you might know him. He's a very sought after MC now. KP, yeah. So it's interesting because all our paths kind of started under some block in Bedok, dancing in some car park in Cantonment, and eventually, it's interesting to see how everyone's wings have spread in a different way. Yeah. So I mean, but it all started because we truly believed that we loved that craft at the time, which was different for everyone.
Yeah, but the craft at the time was shared by all of you.
Yeah.
And that would be Bollywood dance.
It was, I think the end goal for everyone was clear, which was acting actually. Everyone wanted to be an actor of some kind, a Bollywood star.
Right.
Dance was a way in.
Right.
From dancing, some of us went into MCing.
Right.
Some went into stand-up.
Right.
Some started directing more. Some started writing more.
But you decided to go into stand-up.
I did. It wasn't a conscious decision to turn it into a job.
Right.
In all fairness, wow.
But what was the reason for going into stand-up?
It's a craft I've been fascinated with since I was 17 years old. I was in college at the time, Tampines Junior College.
TP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tampines boy. And I remember watching Russell Peters for the first time.
Okay.
Illegally on YouTube, as you know, he had this viral clip going crazy.
Yep.
And I watched him for the first time, and I was doing some drama in college at the time, and I wrote a character of a corrupt Indian Swami, like an Indian guru who was really corrupt, who would would go to clubs at the night and then give out like messages and sage wisdom in the day at the temples. And it was just a weird character that I wrote, inspired by my, watching Russell Peters and Eddie Murphy. And I remember watching the clip going like, there's some really bad jokes in there, man, Rishi. But it's how it kind of started. And because of that, I started a document called cracks.doc, where I would just put down jokes that I thought were funny when I was 17 years old.
Okay.
Never thinking I'd ever be a comic or whatever. But kind of by accident, sometime in 2011, I want to say, I heard about an open mic scene in Singapore. I went to watch 2 weeks in a row. And by the third week, the organizer had convinced me, it's like, hey, why don't you go up on stage? Well, I mean, I know you host and I know you do this. That time I was I was just doing weddings mostly.
Right.
I was acting as, random security guards in Crime Watch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think I did some award-winning photography playing a security guard before for an art project. I was damn good at that, man. I could really channel the safety. At that time, I mean, it was limited roles, right? It was either security guard or rapist or murderer or wife beater. Or it was really really shit.
Yeah,
time
I know. I was always a villain.
See, that's
on Channel 5, yeah.
When I started in showbiz, everyone wanted you.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. So all the roles were for Pan-Asian.
No, I'm not Pan-Asian, man.
You're not, man? Eurasian what?
I'm Eurasian, but not Pan-Asian.
See,
I lament about that all the time.
But I think that's what they kind of wanted. They wanted this amalgamation of cultures that's a bit neutral.
Yeah. But it's not guys like me. I mean, I'm Eurasian. Pan-Asian is completely different, man.
Is it?
Yeah. White dude. White person mixed with an Asian person, then therefore you called him Pan-Asian.
But just say they won't know what your name, Chris Henson. I'll be like, oh my god.
I guess I'm kind of fooled them for a bit.
I know, right? Every time I would see a job description in ads or I would see Pan-Asian.
Yeah, man. I've had this discussion with so many other people before. Yeah, sucks, huh?
Yeah, I guess at that time, that's one of the ways I would kind of channel this frustration into stand-up,
Okay.
So that's how it all started, man. It started as a hobby, as something that I wanted to...
But I have this admiration for people who do stand-up comedy because... as in anything we do on stage, right? Whether or not you're an MC or whether or not you're just a front person in a band even, right? Improv is something that you got to have.
Yep.
And comedians, man, is a higher standard, higher level of improv. Your content, the stuff you come up with, how do you do that?
Oh, man. I think everyone has a different process.
Yeah, okay.
For me, I think it's a combination of actually working and a bit of that discipline of like, hey, you know what? You're gonna write X amount every day. Whether it's funny or not, the tap's got to be on for water to come out.
All right.
I had a very good friend who used to be a writer on American sitcoms in the past. He wrote for shows like In Living Color, Hanging with Mr. Cooper back in the day.
Right.
So he told me once that stand-up to him is like it's like sculpting, creating a sculpture where part of the job is to gather clay.
Okay.
And a lot of the clay won't be used.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's okay. You can't create the sculpture without gathering the clay. Because in our mind, sometimes you're like, oh, I will only write the good jokes. Or only when it's ready, then I'll deliver. No. Part of the process is just blurting it all out.
Yeah.
Getting it out on paper or on notes or whatever you do.
And then you polish it.
And the way to do that is to go to the open mics.
Okay.
The open mic comedy scene is the biggest, most important thing, where you go out, you test the material. And I remember this advice I got from an old buddy who's now unfortunately passed. His name was Jonathan Atherton.
Oh, yes.
You might have known John.
Yeah.
He was hugely responsible for kicking off a lot of careers of Asian comedians in Southeast Asia. I mean, Singapore, Malaysia, this region. And I remember the first time he booked me for a show, I asked him, hey, John, what advice can you give? I was like 6 months into stand-up. And he said, keep writing, keep doing it, and keep watching the pros do it live as much as you can. Don't ever think that, oh, I know it all, I know everything. If you get a chance to watch any professional comic in a club, in a theater, anywhere, just watch. Good or bad, you will learn something.
But don't you think that there's got to be a whole lot of self-awareness of even how you look like, how funny it looks like, how you pull certain facial muscles that will make you look certain way that you want the audience to see?
Yeah. I think that's, again, it's something you discover about yourself, man.
Yeah.
And I think I never understood this when I was starting out comedy, but all the seasoned pros would tell you that, oh, you need to be 10 years into comedy before you find your voice, which you don't understand until you've spent 10 years doing stand-up. And then you realize, oh man, this is what these guys were talking about, because you learn who you are, you learn how to portray who you are, you learn how to connect with an audience. And I'll share this very interesting experience because I don't think any other Singaporean comic has this experience. I was very lucky. Very early on, I got a chance to do a 3-minute open mic comedy spot at the world famous Comedy Store.
Okay.
In LA. So this is like one of the top clubs in the world.
Right. 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Yeah.
That's it.
Because I mean, that's the interesting part, right? The first time you go anywhere for an open mic, nobody gives you more than 3 minutes, especially the mature scenes.
Okay.
So I remember going there, and it's one of those late night shows where, it's 3 hours long. It starts with like 8 people, and then there's 2 people, and then 5 more come in. And then by the time you go on, maybe there's like 4 people in the room, something like that.
Right.
Brutal kind of gig. But you just got to go out there and do it, right? That's how you earn your stripes.
Right.
I remember going out there, 3 minutes, boom, boom, boom. And then the booker comes up to me after the show and he's like, you're that kid from Singapore, right? I'm like, yeah, I am. He's like, let me talk to you. So he said, look, you've got jokes, but I want to tell you something. We are not looking for the person who can do the most jokes in 3 minutes.
Right.
We're looking for comics who can show us who they are in 3 minutes.
Okay.
While being funny.
Wow.
Which
deep,
was
man. Deep,
such
man.
a revelation.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you realize that, in a place like LA with sitcoms and movies and all, there's a lot of joke writers. But what separates the comics, the special comics, is like, how can I show you a part of myself in those 3 minutes while making you laugh?
Okay.
That's the real challenge.
So that's self-awareness, isn't it?
That's about knowing who you are.
Yeah.
Knowing who, discovering yourself, finding your voice in comedy, so to speak. And that was a real revelation for me, man.
But you got yourself, other than that particular club, you got yourself into Gotham Comedy Club as well. How'd that happen?
I got a chance to do Gotham the first time because back in around 2012, 2013, I think there was this thing going on called the Hong Kong International Comedy Competition. Again, I was really new. I was like less than a year in a comedy, or maybe just a year in a comedy. and people were like from the region flying in to Hong Kong to do it, because the prize, if you win, was, I think it came up to about 5,000 Sing dollars.
Okay.
First prize.
Okay.
And you get hooked up with spots at these various clubs.
Wow.
In New York and in Minneapolis.
So that's the real prize, basically.
That's the real prize. So a lot of times, sometimes people would just take the cash and then like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to keep the cash and continue doing whatever else I do. But I wanted to do these spots.
Okay.
So I used the prize money to fly myself to the US and, put myself up in shitty hostels and like do the gigs, man.
Okay.
Best decision ever. It taught me so much of like brutal lessons very early.
Like what?
Like, for example, if you are going into the scene, in a mature scene like that, I thought before doing these gigs at Gotham or the comic strip, let me do some open mics.
Right.
So I went to some open mics, The open mics there are pay gigs.
Wow.
That means you pay to get stage time.
Wow.
Because it's such a premium. That means I got to pay $3 for a 5-minute spot.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how comics. But then very quickly I realized that when I was doing these open mic rooms, I would go on stage trying to practice my stuff for the bigger rooms.
Right.
And I would not get any response. I'd be like, people would be like, I wasn't getting any laughs in the first 2 gigs. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on, man? I'm like dying on my ass here.
Yeah. I mean, it's like bombing, right?
Really horribly. Morale really low. And my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, Cheryl, she traveled with me, and I told her, I said, fuck this, this is not worth it. I maybe I'm just not cut out to do this. She's like, you know what? Do the gigs you were booked for before you call it off, before you think that or whatever, Do the actual shows. And then what I realized, when I went for the first gig that I was booked for at a proper club with an audience, it went really well. 7 to 10 minute spots, and then people were like, laughing, and I was getting applause breaks, and the bookers were happy. And that's when it hit me. These open mic scenes were full of other struggling comedians.
Okay.
Right? And they were doing jokes that were really dark and out there and edgy, things about like, topics like whatever you think, like, I don't know, like orgies and, pedophilia and baby rape and all very like...
fuck me.
And whenever and it was weird because when someone would bring up a topic like that, the room would be like, ha ha ha, yeah, go on. And I was so fucking confused, man, Chris, for a while, until I realized that these comics were stuck in a loop because they were getting feedback from other struggling comics.
Right.
Which just kept them stuck there for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas in Singapore, we were very lucky because even our open mics are attended by real audience members.
Right.
So you get real feedback about what's working, what's not working.
Okay.
And that was the biggest lesson, man. Like when I came back, I'm like, okay, so you got to pick where you're going to perform, because if you get the wrong feedback from the wrong audience, it's going to mess you up and mess up your process. That was one of the things.
Right.
And also it was comforting to know that I could like make people around the world laugh, not just in Singapore.
You get heckles, man. I'm sure you do.
I mean, I have in the past. There have been situations. Nothing that was too crazy. I can share one story, which was a weird positive heckle.
Okay.
I remember performing at the Blue Jazz in Singapore. This was in Singapore.
Blue Jazz, yeah.
A beautiful, nice comedy room on top they used to have.
Yeah.
And I'm doing my show, and this lady stands up in the middle of my act and goes, Rishi, God bless you. Like, thanks a lot, man. I just gotta finish this show. He's like, no, God bless you. Can I say a prayer for you? I'm like, there's like 100 people here waiting for me to finish the show. And she goes, I'm a spiritual healer.
Oh man.
Right,
you must be shitting me, man.
But she did have all the spirits in her, bro. Vodka, whiskey. the bartender said, she's been having Long Island's all night. So she was full of spirits for sure. And then she goes on to like say a prayer, but she's like, "Oh Lord Jesus Christ."
Oh man.
Oh, and then she goes, "Allah." I'm like, "Whoa." Hey. I'm like, "Is this a conference call?" What's going on? But eventually we had to let her finish.
Yeah.
And then, I got the crowd to like give her a round of applause, and then we carried on with the show. It was just that weird. Like, because as comics, you're wired to deal with negative heckles, right? If someone tries to screw up your show, you put them in their place in the best way possible.
Yeah, but how do you manage something like that? Because it's going to take so much out of you. You got to think about, first of all, you got to set aside how you feel about, depends on the heckle.
Yes,
right? How you feel about that shit. Yep. Then after which, you've got to sit down and think, what am I going to say to this person? How am I going to turn that heckle around?
Yeah. I don't know. If you've watched my act live before, I'm very friendly, even to the hecklers.
Yeah.
Right? But my approach is to turn the audience against them. Because nobody in the room wants the show to be ruined by a heckler. They're here, they paid money to watch Rishi.
Yeah.
Or whichever the comic is on the bill, right?
Right.
They've not paid to watch some person, trying to be a wise ass.
Granted, but then is there a process?
I think it's a lot of practice. I think it's a lot of what your personality is. Mm-hmm. And when I say practice, it's not just limited to stand-up comedy.
Right.
I host for a living.
Yeah.
I trained as an actor.
Right.
And all those hours of, dealing with drunk pais at Indian weddings. I mean, you know how it is, bro.
Yeah. Believe me, I've done a lot of those in Khalsa.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, even dealing with like difficult D&D audiences.
Well, they're not really that difficult at D&D audiences.
Sometimes, it's rare. It's rare.
I just think that. Sorry to interject, man,
Please.
but I just think, man, for the life of me, I never saw myself to ever do stand-up comedy. Okay, I've been doing shows for a long time.
Yes.
And I can tell you that, I know I can be funny, but I never thought about sitting down and writing stuff to be for stand-up comedy because I find it just way too daunting. And I always felt that it's only reserved for a special few.
Okay.
When I say special few, let me just put it, I'm going to be fucking blunt about this.
Sure.
Out of 10 people, local, I can maybe think 3, 4 tops that I would say, born for it. Really this is meant for them.
Right.
The rest, I still don't know. I'm not saying it can never be.
Sure.
So my point of view is that I've always felt stand-up comedians got into into this little niche world because it's a calling.
Wow.
But the way you said it to me from the time we started the show, right?
Yeah.
It's like, Chris, I was first, we all want to end up in Bollywood. We got into Bollywood dancing.
Yeah.
Then after which, some went MCing, some went writing, some went, acting. I went into stand-up comedy, right? And it was as if it was like a sort of a discerned choice.
Wow, it wasn't a choice for me, man. In case it came across as, look, let's be honest. You're growing up in Singapore. No Asian parent, no parent in the world will, go like, what, bro, you want to be a comic? Even if you're the funniest kid in the world, your parents will be like, oh, trying to be funny. Very funny, is it? Laugh some more? Very funny, boy. We all grew up in a way, like even until today, as liberal and as open as parents have become, I don't think there's any, your parent, even in 2024, if your child has an affinity to football, you'll be like, I'm going to put my child in a football academy. Yeah. See, even in Singapore.
Okay, I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this.
Even if your child has some affinity to gymnastics, they'll be like, but Wait, where are you going to put a funny child? You send your funny child
To the funny farm.
where? You'll be like, this boy, trying to be funny. Go more tuition.
You send the funny child to the funny farm, man.
Where is that?
It's in Bangkok.
Is this true? Is that
I'm gonna be full fucked for this. Come on, man. You know what's in Bangkok, right? The funny farm.
Oh, the kampong,
Yeah.
Okay.
Used to be in another part of Singapore.
Right.
Around there anyway.
Oh, boy. I'm going down that road,
No, I'm going to retract.
Yeah, but my point is that, you never grow up thinking it's a legitimate career choice.
But there have been people looking, maybe not in Singapore.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I have not asked Kumar this question yet.
Yeah.
But let's say, for example, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
I think that fucker has told the whole world that he was born to do this. I'm sure you watch Raw and Delirious.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
80s,
one of the
right?
early inspirations
Oh man,
of
I
my work.
love it, man. I love those shows.
Yeah.
And if you recall, in Raw, it started with a kid that's acting like Eddie Murphy, a young Eddie Murphy.
I remember.
And how he was talking about all the dirty jokes and he's telling all the dirty jokes to his folks and all that shit.
Yep.
And how he was disappointing his parents. It seemed as if he's telling us a story that, look, man, since I was that small, I wanted to do this.
Fair.
I mean, have you met anyone like that?
Oh, man.
The reason why I'm asking Rishi is simply because this is I love my job.
Sure.
If there's going to be some guy, some girl or guy who's watching the show, listening to the show, thinking to themselves, I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And should I not? Let's give them an answer.
Well, I'm sure there was a lot of kids like Eddie Murphy growing up, where we only hear about the success of Eddie Murphy. We don't hear about the hundreds of thousands of foul-mouthed, funny kids who maybe, didn't make it home, who are maybe still struggling in clubs in LA and New York. Maybe, I'm saying. Similarly, I think if you talk to a lot of successful or pro comics of this generation, you will hear stories like what you hear from what I shared. Like, hey, maybe someone trained as an actor, maybe someone got a gig on SNL first, or maybe someone was open micing and got spotted for their own sitcom. But make no mistake about it, whether or not you have some kind of raw affinity towards that kind of craft that you're looking to do, it's gonna take a shitload of work. It's gonna take a shitload of rejection. It's gonna take a shitload of failure before you actually see some kind of success. That's my opinion about it.
Okay.
And how do I approach, or how do I advise people who are, looking for the job that they love? I always say, find something that comes easy to you and work really hard at it.
How about money? Do you call yourself a full-time comedian?
I'm full-time in show business. So I don't restrict myself to stand-up comedy. Maybe there's the difference that I feel like. See, I still enjoy doing the hosting work. Right. Whether it's like, on TV or on a web series, or whether I get to host a travel show, which I've done. Yeah. Or whether it's to do, like President Star Charity. I enjoy that aspect of it. I still write work. I still, do film. So I would, although maybe my identity is strongest as a stand-up comedian, I still do a wide variety of work within show business, which even if you look at, our Hollywood examples that we want to hopefully get the guidance from. Eddie Murphy. SNL, movies. Yeah, but you still remember Raw and Delirious because, you recognize him as a comic. And then it opened the doors to all these things. Right. Which happens a lot. Like even, for example, if we look at someone like Ronnie Cheng, who's a current example. Right. Great comic. Toured his way around Australia, made his way to Canada, got spotted at Just for Laughs, Montreal. Went to the Daily Show. And then now he's won an Emmy with the Daily Show. He's doing Marvel movies. He's touring. But it all started because, he had built this craft as a comic. Right. So I think even for me, I feel like although stand-up comedy is something I always come back to and continue doing, I keep the doors open to all kinds of work in show business.
Right. So that's how you earn your keep.
Yeah.
Through all as many jobs as I can get, doing the things I love, not just stand-up comedy.
That's right. Yeah. And people still ask me, hey, people are a bit sheepish to ask me, Rishi, do you still host weddings? Because we saw you. I'm like, yeah, I love doing weddings.
Oh, I love doing weddings too, man.
I mean, I've no qualms about it. Like it's a great chance for me to kind of hang out in a low pressure environment.
Yeah.
Test some jokes.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it very professionally in that I meet the couple. I try to keep it personalized. But it's not a corporate show at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's why I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you don't have to worry about so much about corporate governance and all that stuff.
it can be fun.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I think what it does that, to us as the pros being hired for this,
Yeah.
it's a job, right? It's one night of work and, you kind of do your best to make it exciting and memorable. But to the couple, this is arguably one of the biggest days of their lives.
Yeah.
I get texts all the time like, hey, do you remember 10 years ago you hosted this thing? We were watching our wedding video and we were like, you made it so. And I'm like, that means so much.
Yeah.
It does. And that those kind of things remind me why I still do what I do. And, it makes you love your job even more.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. And, weddings, right now, as far as I'm concerned, tell me there's a D&D coming up and it's no longer, you shouldn't have the second D anymore anyway. People don't fucking dance. And I've never had, nights where you host an event and you're done at 10 o'clock. The years, especially in my heyday in the 90s, right? We end at 2 on average.
Wow.
Okay. Because we have a dance set before the grand draw. So people stay back. They dance. They really dance. We don't waste the dance floor.
Dance floor.
Yeah, dude. We had a saying,
Yeah.
Don't waste the dance floor. It's there.
Right.
It's set up.
Yeah.
Have fun, right?
Wow.
And then after which they dance for about half an hour, 45 minutes. Then we go to grand draw. The grand draw happens just before midnight. By the time the show ends, the show program ends at midnight.
Right.
And then final set for the dance.
Whoever
wants to stay back, right?
Wow.
So sometimes we stay back a little bit. We hobnob with the people that we've been partying with the whole night.
Yep.
Right. So by the time we get really done, 1-ish, 2 in the morning.
Wow.
And then go to Adam Road, go to Newton Circus, have your tulang, and then go back, But those are great times, man. But nowadays, you have the D, don't have the other D. The other D at the end, D and D, no, and that's just a freaking dinner, man.
Yeah, it's rare. You're right. I mean, the dance floor thing happens not with all D&Ds. You're right. It's rare, especially the bigger companies. You rarely see the
people staying back. Yeah. They just want to go for the grand draw, win some lucky draw prizes, and go home. Weddings are different, though. I mean, I think I was doing some counting not long ago, and I think I've crossed 1,500 weddings.
Oh wow!
In my lifetime,
that's a lot, dude.
Yeah,
well done.
and frankly, I keep thinking about I walk the street. I walk down the street. Sometimes I get couples that go, "Hey, Chris," and I go, "Shit, I don't remember them."
Oh yeah, it happens.
Oh, you had a great time, and when you hosted our wedding, blah blah blah. Oh yeah. But really deep down inside, I can't remember who they were.
That's okay. Like you said, it's about the impression that you left from the work that you do, and it's very obvious that even you truly love what you do.
I do. I've never not loved it.
Yeah.
But where Rishi Budhrani is concerned, man, when I think of you, you're right. I think stand-up comedian.
Yep.
And then you know what? Let's get back to that topic, yeah? You know what? When I watch some of your shows that you post online, yeah, and the stuff you say, I would have thought you would have gotten yourself to some kind of shit, man.
Oh, really?
I mean, okay, presidential election is one.
Presidential election. Oh, that.
Race is another.
Yeah, so let's talk about last year's presidential election.
Okay.
Right? Did it get me into trouble? Not really. It got me to host President Star Charity. I guess.
How do you get away with that, man?
I don't think it's about getting away, because my opinion when I do this kind of content is it's not to stir shit or like, do anything negative. It's more to address issues that are of actual concern to society.
Maybe you and I come from an era from eras that are a little different. Because back in the day, my time, we had to steer clear, You know what I mean? But when I watch yours and I go, whoa, dude, jam on the brakes a little bit, tap on it, And then the next thing I know, hey, the guy's on President Side Charity. The guy's on NDP 2022.
Yeah, I think and I'm very open about this, Chris.
Yeah. Please.
My love for my country is strong. Like I grew up in Bedok South. I went to neighborhood school. The heartlands are my home and always will be.
Yeah.
Wherever I move to, wherever I travel to, and I am always interested in some way or the other to use my craft to make society better for all of us to live in.
Yeah.
It's not something that I sit down and practice or it's not like a code of conduct. But in my head, if I'm discussing an issue that is important to Singaporeans or people living here, it's something that I feel is useful, right? And when I can use humor to do it, it makes it even more palatable. It makes it a little easier to discuss certain things. It makes it easier for us to kind of tread through those minefields of difficult topics like politics or race or issues of cost of living, for example,
right,
amongst other things in Singapore.
Right.
So I never approach it in a negative way that, hey, let's take someone down or let's go. No.
The roing.
No. That's, to me, that's not what I'm here to do, right? I'm here to raise a topic that is important that maybe sometimes mainstream media cannot.
Yeah. For
whatever reasons. Like,
right.
I trained as a journalist.
Right.
And very early on, I learned about concepts of socialization. I learned about concepts of how, you have kind of state influence and state-owned networks and media and all that, which have certain responsibilities of public service. And maybe sometimes something coming from an independent source like me, I'm not funded by anyone. I don't have some kind of stream of income coming from a media conglomerate. So my views are my own.
Right.
So accept it or disagree with it. I raise it in the best way that I can for people to go out there and kind of chat about it, discuss it, what their stances are. And I approach it as a journalist where I'm not pof-mying, It's all based on facts that are available right there. And what is opinion is very clearly opinion.
So, okay. I've got this interesting picture, man. Now that we're talking about that particular subject,
okay,
I call this the Rishi and Lawrence show. Man, can we?
Oh. Love it.
Was this a coincidence?
It was 100%, man. I did. Look. Okay, so shout out to my friend Sylvia, who runs the Emporium. The Emporium Group, which does a lot of this, the outfit that you saw.
Right.
So Sylvia is an old friend, a collaborator. She does really beautiful, customized work in terms of with Singapore-related designs and all that.
Right. The motifs.
Yeah. So when I was doing the parade back then, we were collaborating on something, and she found out, she's like, Rishi, can I gift you something? We only have one piece with us right now. We make like one piece every year or something. And if you're okay, I'd love for you to have. I'm like, wow, that's so sweet of you, Sylvia. It was in 2022. And in 2023, I think the second piece. I stand corrected on this, Sylvia. If I'm talking nonsense, please tell me. But I think you made a new one. And that went to Lawrence Wong. And I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute. That looks cool.
Oh, boy.
I feel like I've seen that shirt before.
Oh man, the only one available now. There's no more. Yeah, gonna give it to you, Rishi. You're right. You do jokes, and I mean, I'm Eurasian and half Chinese as well, right?
Okay.
I'm quite a melting pot, my mom's Peranakan and she's Chinese. My dad is Eurasian,
right?
And guys like you, guys like me, we understand what it is to be a minority race, right? I'm not going to really touch on such a touchy subject, but I find it quite fascinating because when it comes to stand-up comedy and anyone talking about race or races are usually the ethnic minority.
Fair, yeah.
I've never heard from anyone from them ethnic majority touching on the subject of race as in comedy.
Well, it's kind of a natural phenomenon in the comedy world, right? Because in a way, good comedy, people respond to it when it's a punch up as opposed to a punch down. So when it's on a topic of race, if you're the ethnic majority, it's very difficult to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very easy for it to be construed as a punch down the moment you start making fun of races.
You'll be called out, man.
Yeah.
There's this danger of being called out.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like, some comics, it is possible for someone to do it, because if it's funny at the end of the day, right? Yeah. Funny is the world that, at least me as a comic, I live in. I don't view it as a lens of correct or wrong or how can you say this or whatever. If you're watching something, and that's the beauty of stand-up, I think sometimes it's one of the closest forms of justice in performance.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in a room, you're watching someone, right, and this room is not curated. That means like whoever buys a ticket,
right,
can go in, sit there, and watch this person.
Yeah.
That is the most involuntary response that you can get about whether someone is funny or not. Within that context,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put Kumar in the US and it's an American crowd, maybe they won't understand everything. So it's not fair. But within that context of that room and that people, if you make them laugh, chances are you're probably quite funny lah.
Because there's a lot of relatability, I would think, right?
Yeah,
people got to relate to you. Yeah,
and you're connecting. You are uniting a room full of strangers,
right?
Just through humor,
right? And this is where I find I actually found this video really funny, man.
Okay,
video of yours. Can we play that one, please, with the accent? Yeah.
Oh, what's this, man?
Oh, you don't remember this? This is
my God. Your Cindy accent is so sexy.
Cindy's.
Say it again. Hong Kong. Jakarta.
Oh boy.
Spain. Bye.
Bye.
Daughter.
Grandma used to say daughter all the time. Yep.
Pipe water.
Do I say tomorrow?
Phone.
I hope there's tomorrow in there.
Bus. Money. Toilet.
I want to ask you, man.
Oh boy, yeah.
I mean, has anyone talked about this? Because my curiosity is that I understood that.
Okay.
I understood the humor.
Yep.
In the accent.
Yep.
I don't have to. I mean, look. Of course, I know Six. I know Cindy's. Right. You know, I'm used to it. Yeah. I can relate. But do you happen to have a lot of people, let's say the Chinese, do they understand that?
I think some do, because, they just kind of see this, there's this Indianish kind of thing, but part of it is also building that nuance for people who are not aware that, there's a lot of different kinds of Indian people out there. You know what I mean? Like, I get asked all the time, hey, Rishi, you Indian, you cannot speak Tamil. How come? I never learned that.
Oh, man.
I'm like, bro, there's a bunch of different kind of
You know,
languages.
it's a bit funny when people in Singaporeans, you know, sometimes it's just so culturally inept. They don't really recognize the difference in certain races, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, that's why sometimes I feel like, okay, look, let's not view it from the negative lens that, why are these people so like that? I'm like, okay, never mind. Let me use humor to spread some kind of positive awareness. Even this, I'm doing this Sindhi video I did after a really long time, but I used to do a lot of Sindhi content.
Okay.
Like 10, 12 years ago when I first started out, when I was exploring stuff.
Yeah.
I remember I did a very old video called, there was an online trend called Shit XYZ Parents Say. Okay, so I did what Shit Sindhi Parents Say. And that, like, for the first time, I experienced what it was to get like global viral fame in the community. And I was getting like messages from random parts Indies in the world. I saw this, congratulations, you are making your parents really proud. But I also got hate mail and death threats from Pakistan.
Holy crap.
Which were like, oh, you are, they used to call me a muhajir, you're an immigrant Sindhi, you don't know what it's like to be a real Sindhi.
Oh my.
You're gonna get yourself killed. I'm like, whoa, hey man. I mean, that's when you know it's really gone viral, when the village idiots start to reach out to warn you.
Hey, we're gonna make you a village bicycle.
Oh dear.
You know, speaking of accents, man, let me share something really funny that happened to me.
Yep.
I went for lunch in my neighborhood coffee shop at my kopitiam.
Okay.
I was sitting there, and then it was about lunchtime. So there were a bunch of young, I think they were bankers, executives, who were, seated there, young people, guys, girls, you know. And it was so funny because when the food arrived, there was belacan on the table. Okay. Then they're all Chinese. So this girl went to ask the friend, hey, you want belacan? Belacan. He went, no, I cannot take it because of the spice. Hey, but it's not spicy. It's belacan. It's very nice. This belacan really tastes good. It is not hot one. Belacan. Then I'm thinking, hey, I gotta meet this Indian guy, man. First name Bala, last name Chan. Yeah, I tell you, some of the strangest shit happened to me, really. And really, it's so freaking funny. Then, well, if I talk about the Chinese, there was, I don't know whether I should say this. Okay, I was in the Sheng Siong. Okay. It was a quiet Sheng Siong. And then I was just in the queue to pay up my groceries, right? Right. These three ladies, young, no, not young, they weren't young, about maybe in the early 30s. And Malay girls walking past, and they were talking so loudly. And one of them said, hey, what do you think, huh? You think this place got sell nipple covers not? What? I'm like, holy shit, dude. I mean, yeah, nipple covers. Then after a friend looked at her like, then I was looking at her, I was going, yes, they do. I just bought some. Like, come on. I have fun with this kind of things because I'm also a minority race, Right. And I have fun watching these things, listening to some of the stupid things that people say. Some people really, to them, I speak Chinese. Okay. So what? What Chinese? What do you mean, what Chinese? Yeah. Mandarin? Chinese, huh? Mandarin? Chinese? Okay. Could it be Hokkien? No, that's dialect. Yeah, I know. But it's part and parcel of Chinese. But they don't get it. Yep. The dialects. Yeah, so no, it's not just that. It's just that people just don't bother or ignorant of what things truly are. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, I sit back and I kind of enjoy that because why? I've got the benefit of two different races. So, yeah. So if you could write a self-help book, man, for aspiring comedians, okay, what would the chapters be titled? Wow. I give you bonus points for puns. Oh, man. Damn, I haven't thought about this, bro. Because the number one thing that I would advise all comics is to never listen to anyone's advice.
As people will just like, project all the time, right? They're like, hey, you know what, this joke, maybe you should try it like that. And I'm like, hey,
But if it's not yours, it's not yours, right?
Relax, let the audience. Well, okay, I guess the biggest thing what would the book be titled?
Book be titled or chapters be titled. Never mind, let's go just for the book title.
Book title, trying to be funny, is it? That's what.
Trying to be funny, is it?
Trying to be funny, is it? Yeah, that would be the title of the book.
Speaking of the way you just said that, trying to be funny, Kai, you know which one we want to play now, right?
Oh, is there something?
Freaking hell, I freaking cracked up, man, this one.
Trying to be funny, is it? Yeah.
Hey, Pop, what's up? You have started your nonsense again, huh? What did I do now? You asked me to make you a free suit because you wanted to meet the president. And then you didn't even bother to introduce him to me. I was right there, holding the masala pineapple tart to give him. Masala pineapple tart? That's gross. Okay, but how can I suddenly stop the president and say, hey, meet my father, he's the one who made my suit. Okay, the next time I'll make you a birthday suit. Let's see who's going to hire you.
That's very extreme, isn't it?
You are extreme, an extreme idiot. Okay,
you call me to tell me all this.
No, I called you because it's Diwali this week.
Oh, of course. Happy Diwali, Bob.
Yeah. Do you have any Diwali gift for your father?
I can get you Deepavali discount tickets to my show, AI, Artificial Indian. I'm doing a rerun 9 December.
Do you want me to pay to watch you to be a clown on stage?
No, I mean not full price. I'm saying I'll give you a discount.
Your brain needs a discount from your ass.
What does that mean?
It means that you're talking shit. Oh, wow. Your show shouldn't be called AI. Your show should be called UI. What's UI? Useless Indian. That's what you are.
I'm useless. Come on, I'm doing okay work. I had to perform for the president this year. I got invited to do a show in Turkey. I'm going on tour next year as well.
Okay. I'm not interested in your career height. I'm interested in your height.
My height?
Yes, your mom and I need your height to clean the room.
True story, bro.
Hello. Happy Diwali to everyone. Don't be useless like my son.
Is that really your dad?
That's my dad. That's my real dad.
Seriously?
That's what they tell me, yeah.
He's funny, man. He's really good, man, I tell you.
Yeah, he's actually a tailor by profession for the past...
So that's true. That's real. He's really a tailor.
He's been running a tailor shop since 79.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's just interesting, right? They all ask me, how come we never joined the family business? I said, well, I'm still dealing in material, you know what I mean? Like, it's a different kind of...
Good one.
We still are, we still are in a way.
Good material for a tailor shop. I had a friend.
Yeah.
I have a friend. We've known each other for ages, for 30 plus years. And when I knew him, I'm a bit old. I'm kind of a lot older, actually. He was just 18 years old and he was working in a tailor shop.
Okay.
He's a baby fella.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sick guy.
There you go.
And then, I tell you, he cracked me up because Far East Plaza, right? Loads of tailor shops, right?
Yes.
So you have the white tourists going up and down, and then he stops a guy and he goes, "Excuse me, sir, can I interest you? In a long pair of trousers for a short price." I mean, where the hell did he come up with that? And he's replied to me as, "I'm babe, bro. I know this kind of thing."
Wow. That's hilarious. That's something I haven't heard. I've heard a lot of tailor puns in my life.
A long pair of trousers for a short price. And frankly, man, when he said, "Hey, bro, I'm a babe, bro. I know this kind of things." You know what I mean? It was like, yeah. But to me, it's this whole thing, man. It's a celebration of races. And to have the ability to laugh at each other and laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's a bit lost these days, man?
Yeah. I feel like maybe the world, like fashion, like trends, like a lot of things in the world, maybe it's cyclical, bro. Like, I don't know if you've seen the younger generation today. Yeah. It's almost like 90s fashion is coming back with the baggy pants.
Was it baggy jeans in the 90s?
Sorry? Baggy
90s?
Jeans.
Baggy jeans, yeah, okay.
Baggy jeans, a bit of looser clothing and all that. Because there was a period in between where everything went, tight, let's go this.
Yeah.
It's almost like fashion has become cyclical. It's almost maybe even trends and political views, or, now there's a phase where it's like you say, cancel culture is quite huge right now. But perhaps there will be a time where even we manage to figure that out and ride that out to be able to, kind of do comedy without having it be such a such a challenging.
Yeah. With fallouts, right?
Yeah.
You know, walking on eggshells every time you go on stage.
Yeah, man. I think it's a sign of the times as well. Like you brought up Eddie Murphy and Raw, right?
If that happens today, you're fucked.
Those jokes would not fly in 2024.
No freaking way.
Having said that, it's a sign of the times, right? So if you maybe 10 years from now we'll be talking again, or 15 years we'll be talking again, and we'll talk about the iconic comedy goal from the 2020 years, and you'll be like, damn, you know, that kind of comedy will not fly in 2040, man. Because in 2040, well, maybe a different kind of world we'll be living in.
We'll go back to the good old sitcoms, like, you know, JJ from Good Times, man.
See, that's the thing, right? So I always think like comedians are almost like storytellers before there was social media, and before there was communication devices, right? Storytellers were almost like historians of the time, kind of keeping track of what the current stories are, what the narratives were at the time, and they were passed down from generation to generation. I think comedians, in a way, without blowing and tooting our own horns, it's not something that, you know, to be glorified or anything, but it's just what our job is to talk about things that are reflective of the current state of the world. Because that's what relevance is about. What's the world like today? What's the news today? Or what the feelings are of people? What the topics are? What are things that are relevant, that are connecting with an audience, that makes them laugh? Yeah.
Do you think people like Russell Peters are still relevant today?
I think there's an audience for Russell Peters. Yes, I watched him live when I was on my tour in the US in July last year. I got a chance to hang out with Russell Peters. It was weird, man. Like, life came full circle in a weird way. I was at the Laugh Factory. He was one of the comics on the bill. He invited me to his home.
Wow.
To eat like burritos. And, you know, he's a sweet old Indian uncle, man. He's like, hey, eat. Wait, you don't want to eat? You don't want to drink whiskey? Offering me single malt whiskey and burritos, DJing. He opens up his whole his CDJ and he starts spinning for a bunch of us. And it was just a nice night hanging out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. And even on stage, there were people that paid money to come and watch Russell Peters. They were like, hey, you know what? We get to watch. I want to be here. I want to see what Russell Peters does. So, well, I think Russell Peters still has an audience, man. Yeah.
Wow. So there's longevity for comedians, you think?
I think your audience kind of grows with you. Right?
Okay.
If you there's a lot of argument that sometimes treats art and entertainment like business.
Right.
Although show business, the word business is longer. I always think of it as the other way around. People say, oh, you know, I want a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or this person is coming into and is taking my piece of the pie.
Right.
But I think when it comes to this world we are in today, all comedians, all artists, all entertainers in a way are creating their own pie. Because there's enough audience out there for all of us. I talk about this with all my comics. I'm like, they're like, Rishi, you know, if we all do the show at the same year, bro, don't worry, man. You know, you've got your own crowd. This person, but of course, you got to be honest to your craft. You got to continue bringing the quality. You got to continue working hard and being relevant and putting in the hours and putting in the
diligence.
Effort. Yeah, you got to do it, man. There's no way around that. You can't say, I'm good enough the way I am. I'm going to sit back. Yeah, then of course I don't believe in that. I'm like, you know, always give your audience something new. Always give them something to be excited about and look forward to.
Right.
And then you are literally building your own pie and making it bigger every time. You don't have to worry about it.
So Rishi, on that note, man, what's next for Rishi Budhrani then?
In 2024, there's a couple of exciting things I cannot mention yet.
Sure.
But what I can say is that you saw that clip with my dad.
Yeah.
I do a live show called Can I Make You a Suit, Mate? Which is a one-man improv / storytelling / comedic show.
Yeah.
Which I debuted in 2022, commissioned by the Esplanade.
Okay.
We are rerunning that in 2024.
Okay.
So that's happening in October. It's a really interesting project which kind of talks about the life of Taylor and how he kind of travels the world without leaving his shop, in a way.
Okay.
That's one exciting thing that's happening in the second half of the year.
The simplest question I'm going to ask.
Yes.
The last and final question so we can end the show. Yeah.
Sure.
Rishi Budhrani, do you love your job?
Oh yeah, man. I 100% love my job. It's something that saved me from a lot of things. Yeah. Finding comedy, finding this craft to express myself has, in a way, kept me sane for the longest time. So I'm very, very, very fortunate to be able to do this while being able to earn a living and feed my family.
So you found fulfillment in what you do?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. COVID in part was a really tough time because of not having a live audience.
Yeah.
Because ever since 2011, when I started my first open mic, I safely say every week in my life, I was on stage somewhere in the world performing to a live audience, whether it was an open mic in, Boat Quay, or whether it was doing a theater in in Mumbai, or whether it was doing some dingy gig in Changzhou in China, or whether it was in the Storm in the Philippines. I was somewhere doing something for a live audience. So when COVID came around, I realized that when there was even traumatic experiences, comedians, I speak for myself, but I think a lot of comedians process trauma through performing comedy. So when I had tough patches in my life, when I lost people I love, for example, or when I was going through difficult times, I would still be on stage. People are like, "Oh, dude, are you sure you can continue because you just lost this person?" I'm like, "Hey, no, man. This is who I am. This is a part of my existence now." So, in a way, I see comedy as less of a job. I see it as a part of my existence. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Really, man. I've always wanted to meet you. You're a real funny guy.
No, I'm glad, man. I'm glad we got a chance to do this. Thanks for having me, Chris.
And you know something else? I got to say this before, just to end the show. I'm going to say this. Yeah.
Say it, bro.
I've watched you on TV. I've listened to you on air. Yeah. And the first thing that always hit me is that this guy has got brains.
Wow.
No, because your answers are intelligent. The things you talk about, they're intelligent. They're simple, easy to understand, and intelligent. And that is something that's very rare.
I appreciate that, man, Chris.
As an entertainer.
Yep.
And from one entertainer to another. Thank you so very much, brother.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Really
means a lot.
Appreciate it, man. Really.
Thank you for having me.
No, not at all. Thank you for being here. Okay, guys, don't forget, the Chris Hansen Conversation is in YouTube at CCBTV Podcasts. Subscribe. Hit the damn bell as well, okay? So you'll be notified of the next episode. Follow us also on Facebook at CCBTV. We are also on Instagram at ccb.tv_. Don't ask me why the fuck I had to do that. Come up with that address for Instagram. Because the obvious one's been taken, for fuck's sake. We hope you've been having fun so far. Until the next episode, stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.